A brother and a sister argued as they navigated the long way home for spring break. As they traveled, they were watched. An evil, desperate predator was acutely aware as they slowly moved along rural farmlands. It knew there was something interesting in an old 1960 Impala, but they were being watched by another. A local psychic watched the stranger's fate play out 100 times in her head. She didn't like having those things in her head, but they were there whether she liked it or not. What did Jezelle see? Did she know who would be screaming in the dark? Did she know the monster in her head was real and that it needed eyes? And did she initially believe it wanted Trish? Much of what Jezelle knew has been shrouded in mystery. Today, you will see what Jezelle saw, and you will know what she knew. The realization of what really happened that spring day in 2001 may be shocking. Prepare yourself. There was only one final outcome for Trish and Darry. The question is, could that outcome have been modified before it happened? There was one who fought to make a difference, despite the staggering odds against her. Jezelle Gay Hartman was a warrior, and her weapon was a loss of consciousness. She didn't know if telling them would do any good, but she tried to use her terrible dreams to create a better future. According to Jezelle, she didn't dream everything. Parts of her dreams were missing. There were many things that Jezelle didn't seem to know. As a matter of fact, it didn't even seem like she knew who the creeper wanted. Or was the future she saw always in motion? Why did Jezelle present her visions of the future the way she did? Why did she let Trish and Darry run upstairs? She claimed she heard a song playing in the dark somewhere, while one of them screamed the last scream they would ever scream. Who did Jezelle hear screaming in the dark? Did she know? It's time to get into the head of Jezelle Gay Hartman. What did Jezelle see? She watched the future play out in her dreams. But it wasn't a bright future that she dreamed about. She watched the cold, dark end of a young life. And just imagine, it might not just be Darry whose life she saw come to an end. She might have watched many young lives end, all at the same time. She told Trish she didn't dream everything. It wasn't like watching a movie. There were parts missing. Did Jezelle dream enough to know who would be taken? After all, she did some strange things. When she first entered the sheriff's station, she asked for Trish, and when pressed about who she heard screaming in the dark, she made it a point to turn and look directly at Trish. These were bizarre actions from someone who knew the end of the story. Jezelle did know exactly what was going to happen. I know, you want to know how we know, right? It's just something we heard. But you heard it too. For now, let's go back to the first time we met Jezelle. At a lonely sheriff's station in the middle of the night.
I'll talk to you in a few hours. Dad.
The front door of the Poho County Sheriff's Station swung open, and a lady walked past Sergeant Tubbs and called out to Trish. Trisha? Tricia and Darry, right? That was one of the first indications we had that Jezelle's dreams were real. But let me ask you, is there something else about her language that stands out as being peculiar? Okay, we know Jezelle didn't receive an official introduction to Trish and Darry. She knew their names, and she knew them from her dreams. But there's more to it than that. We know of one precise moment of Trish and Darry's life that Jezelle saw. Think about Jezelle using the name Trisha. When was Trish referred to as Trisha? Trisha's legal name was Patricia, and Darry most frequently referred to her as Trish. There was only one time that Darry referred to his sister as Trisha, and that's when he was acting like their father, pretending to ask her why she had taken the long way home.
Trisha, why are you driving home for spring break with your brat brother and not heading off somewhere with that nice Mr. Poli-Sci track team guy?
In her dreams, Jezelle saw Trish and Darry interacting at that very moment. It was one of the parts of her dreams that wasn't missing. But why did she ask for Trish at all? If Darry was the one who was going to be taken, why didn't Jezelle ask for him? There were two reasons why, and some brilliant writing. Hey Beating You family, just a quick interruption to let you know that it's getting difficult to answer everyone's questions. Our dedication to you and to your questions hasn't changed. We love you and we love the questions. But our first mission is to bring you guys cool content. Also, we've enabled super thanks, so if you guys want to throw any love our way, we greatly appreciate it. Now, why did Jezelle ask for Trish?
Just do this and do it fast.
It was natural for Jezelle to ask for Trish. She was the oldest and obviously the sibling in charge. Jezelle could see that in her dreams. Trish was the one that Jezelle needed to convince, and this was just further evidence that she had watched Trish and Darry interact. She was with them for a good portion of their travel, in her dreams. But there was more to it. As humans, who do we choose to talk to? Those whom we are comfortable with. When Jezelle dreamed, Trish was the main character in her dream. Jezelle identified with Trish and wanted to help her save her little brother. Yet, there's another reason why Jezelle asked for Trish, and we'll tie that all together at the end of this episode. But there's a lot more mystery to Jezelle and her dreams. Why did she seem to have trouble telling them who was screaming in the dark?
In the car hours ago.
No, it's playing on an old phonograph.
Escort Jezelle here to the big blue Winnebago she's no doubt blocking the driveway with.
Creepers, where'd you get those
I
eyes?
swear I will lock you
Sergeant
up.
Tubbs instructed his officers to escort Jezelle away. While she left, she pled with Trish and Darry and told them that she heard one of them screaming in the dark, screaming the last scream they would ever scream. She just failed to mention who it was that was doing the screaming. Did Jezelle know who was screaming their last scream? Let's jump over to another interesting scene. While they were trying to hide from the creeper, Darry discovered that Jezelle was withholding information, and he called her out on it. He held her face and demanded to know which one was screaming in the dark while the song Jeepers Creepers was playing. At that poignant moment, Jezelle turned directly to Trish as her answer. This confused everyone watching and caused viewers to question Jezelle's information. We all know how it turned out. Did Jezelle lie to us? Did she or did she not know who was screaming in the dark? This is another fascinating moment of Jeepers Creepers history. Jezelle knew exactly who would be screaming in the dark. How do we know? She told the one who would be doing the screaming, and we all watched. Check this out.
Come on, Brat! I mean it. I need you to hold it together.
You're just gonna know that we were there.
Jezelle called the payphone at Opper's Diner, while Trish and Darry were standing beside it. Not a coincidence. Jezelle told Darry and the rest of us exactly what was going to happen to him, in no uncertain terms. She played the Jeepers Creepers song for him, and told him if he heard that song, he was to run, because it meant something terrible for him. Something so terrible he couldn't dream of it, not even in his worst, most terrible nightmare. Jezelle knew exactly who would be screaming in the dark. She watched as Darry lost his eyes. She watched a life end while a song played. But that doesn't explain why she turned to Trish when she was interrogated by Darry. Jezelle wasn't misleading the Jenners. Parts may have been missing, but not the important parts. She saw both of them screaming in the dark. As the song played, Darry screamed down in the dark somewhere, the last scream he would ever scream. And as that played in Jezelle's head over and over again, she could also hear Trish scream in the dark, quite possibly at the very same moment in her traumatizing dream. The anguished cry of a fragile human suffering an unimaginable loss. Two Jenners cried out in the dark over the loss of one. But could all of this have been avoided if Trish and Darry didn't go upstairs at the sheriff's station? Why did Jezelle allow them to travel up a staircase that led to disaster?
Hello? We got lights and phones out up here. Somebody talk to me.
The power and the phones were out at the Poho County Sheriff's Station. Everyone entered into automatic lockdown. All of the doors were closed and locked. Considering the situation and the limited knowledge that the sheriffs had, they wouldn't be overriding that system until much later. Jezelle and the Jenners were trapped inside the building. She told them the only way out was the front. She knew it would find them there, hiding in a room. She also knew they would hide upstairs, but she didn't know what would happen to her. These were all the things that she saw in her dreams. That was the information she had. If we evaluate that information, we can deduce the information that Jezelle didn't have. She didn't know what room they'd be found in. She didn't know that the building would go into lockdown and they'd be trapped inside. She didn't want them to go upstairs, but there was no other path away from the creeper at that moment. They were all trapped in a maze with no exit. Destiny struck its final blow and revealed why Jezelle had dreamed what she did. Despite the information that Jezelle dreamed, she couldn't use it to change the course of fate for a cursed brother and sister.
This is your way out. These must lock automatically if the power's out.
You didn't know that?
Now, earlier we mentioned there were two reasons why Jezelle asked for Trisha when she first entered the sheriff's station. This is where brilliant writing is on full display. Everything made sense in the story, yet it was twisted and bent to hold tension in viewers until the very end. Think about all the red herrings we witnessed. In the opening act, Trish told us she always thought she would die on the 9. When we first met Jezelle, she asked for Trish. And when asked who would scream in the dark, she looked directly at Trish. As Jezelle told the Jenners information about the Creeper, she divided her attention between the two of them. And at the very end, the Creeper had trouble deciding which Jenner it wanted. All of these things were placed in the story to keep us on the edge of our seats until the end of the finale, yet they all work together to form fictional truth that's undeniable. Each character delivered absolute truth, yet it was still hard for viewers to piece it all together. This is just one of the many reasons why Jeepers Creepers will go down in the annals of horror movie history as one of the greatest monster movies of all time. Hey, thanks for watching today and being here with us to explore the overburdened mind of a fictional psychic. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoy the Beating You channel, please make sure you're subbed up so that we can keep finding treasure for you and the world. Until next time, we'll see you.